All right, so here's the practice test for the Systems of Equations chapter. I know a lot of the things that you're getting says chapter 7. Ignore that. We know we're going to be we're doing chapter 5. All right, so this first problem says we need to graph x equals -1 and then 2x plus y equals -4, and then you're going to tell me where they intersect. Well, here's the line x equals -1. Remember, it's a vertical line at where x is equal to -1. And then we're going to subtract 2x from both sides in the other equation. We'll get y is equal to -2x minus 4. So go to -4 on the y-axis, down to right 1 or up to left 1, and draw your line. This pair of lines intersects at the point -1, -2. In the second problem, we're supposed to use substitution. Well, you have x by itself. It's equal to y plus 1. Put that y plus 1 in for x. You're taking out the x and putting in the y plus 1. You get plus 2y is equal to 7. You get 3y plus 1 equals 7. 3y is equal to 6, and then y is equal to 2. Take that 2, put it back into the parentheses that you made earlier, and then you get 2 plus 1 is 3, so x is equal to 3. You get the point, 3, 2. In number 3, now we're supposed to use elimination. This means we're going to be adding the two equations together. And then so adding the two equations together, you get 12x is equal to 8. Dividing both sides by 12, you get 8/12. And then reduce that to 2/3. Plug that 2/3 back into either one of the equations. I plugged it back into the first one. And just because it's a fraction doesn't change the rule at all. You're still going to take 5 times 2/3 and get 10/3. You're going to get 10/3 plus 6y is equal to 4. You're still going to subtract 10/3 from both sides and get 6y is equal to 2/3. Take the 2/3, well, actually, you're going to take both sides and divide by 6, and you get y is equal to 1/9. So you have the point 2/3, 1/9. In number 4, you're going to take these two equations and add them together, because look at how they're lined up. We have the x's, the y's, the equals, and then the number. That tells you automatically we're going to be using elimination on this. And look at your y's. You have a positive y and a negative y. You have plus y and minus y. That tells you right there that they're going to cancel out. And when you add those two equations together, you get 2x is equal to 16 and x is equal to 8. We'll take that 8 and plug it back into either equation. I plugged it into the top one, so you have 8 plus y is equal to 7, and y is equal to -1. So you have the point 8, -1. In number 5, look at the second equation. You have your x by itself. So x is equal to -2y plus 12. Use substitution. Take the -2y plus 12 and plug it in for the x into the top equation. We'll have 2 times the quantity, -2y plus 12, is plus the 5y is equal to -16. Solving that equation, you get y is equal to -40. Plug that -40 back into the parentheses that you formed when you first started solving this problem. -2 times -40 is positive 80. Plus 12, 92. So you have the point 92, -40. In number 6, you still have a variable by itself. Well, it just so happens you have two variables that are by itself. That doesn't matter. Take the 2x plus 1 in the top equation and substitute it in for the y into the bottom equation. So you'll have 2x plus 1 is equal to x minus 3. Subtract the x from both sides, you get x plus 1 is equal to -3. Subtract the 1 from both sides, you get x is equal to -4. Plug that -4 into the x, and you get 2 times -4. -8 plus 1 is -7. So you'll have the point -4, -7. In number 9, taking a close inspection of this set of equations, have 9x plus 6y equals -12, x plus 2y is equal to 0. If the y's don't cancel right away, or if it's not easy to cancel the y's, cancel the x's. I'm going to multiply the bottom row by -9. Some of you may have seen that you can multiply the bottom row by -3. And if you did that, that's fine. But I'm going to multiply the bottom row by -9 to get the x's to cancel. And I'll have the top equation stays the same, 9x plus 6y equals -12, but the bottom equation becomes -9x minus 18y is equal to 0. When you add the equations together, you get 6 and -18 is -12y is equal to -12, y equals 1. Plugging that 1 back into the bottom equation, get 2 times 1 is 2, x equals -2, so you get the point -2, +1. In number 8, it'll be fairly simple to eliminate the y's here if the bottom equation, if it were that a -6y. So make it -6y. The only thing is, if you make that a negative, you have to change the sign in all the numbers of the bottom row, making it a +7x and a +20. That results in 12x is equal to 24, x is equal to 2. Put that x equals 2 back into the top equation. You'll have 5 times 2 plus 6y is equal to 4. 10 plus 6y is equal to 4. Subtract the 10 from both sides, you get -6, y equals -1, 2, -1. And number 9, again, looking at the y's, they don't cancel right away. It's not going to be all that easy to get them to cancel. So I'm just going to go ahead and make it an automatic cancel out the x's. So I'm going to take the top row and multiply it by 4. Then I'm going to take the bottom row and multiply it times -5. Where do we get those two numbers? The 5 here gets multiplied here. The 4 here gets multiplied times the top row. One of them needs to be negative, though, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have 20x plus 12y is equal to 48, and the bottom equation is going to be -20x plus 25y is equal to -85. Adding the two equations together, the x's now cancel out, and you get 37y is equal to -37, y is equal to -1. Put the -1 back in for the y. You get 5x minus 3 is equal to 12. Adding the 3 to both sides, you get 15. X equals 3, 3, -1. In number 10, I'm going to let x equal the larger of the two numbers. Y is going to be the smaller one. When I add them together, we get 27, so x plus y is equal to 27. It says their difference is 5. X being the larger one, I'm going to subtract the smaller one. X minus y is equal to 5. 2x is equal to 32. X equals 16. So that means the larger number is 16 and the smaller is 11. In number 11, I'm going to let n equal the number of nickels and q equal the number of quarters. It says the collection of nickels and quarters is 25 coins. That's an equation. N plus q is equal to 25. Now there are 3 more nickels than quarters. What does that mean? There are more nickels, which implies that nickels is the larger number. That implies you're going to be subtracting nickels minus quarters. If you take nickels minus quarters, what do you have? N minus q is equal to 3. Adding the two equations together, 2n is equal to 28, n is equal to 14. That means there are 14 nickels. How many quarters are there? 11. But don't forget, the question is asking for what's the total value, and it was 345. So if 14 nickels is 70 cents, 11 quarters is 2.75, you get $3.45. All right. Solving this system of inequalities. When we graph y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4, we start at positive 4, down to right 1, and we get this line, and we're going to shade everything underneath the line. Now we're going to take 3x minus 4 and graph it. We're going to start at negative 4 and rise 3, run 1. Draw a dotted line. This says greater than, so we're going to shade everything above it. And it breaks the graph up into 4 sections. Let's go back to that. Breaks the graph up into 4 sections. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, where in section 1, there's no shading out here. Section 2 only has the blue. Section 4 only has the green. What I'm looking for is where is it blue and green, and it's where they intersect is this section right out here. Now let's go on to the next problem. In number 13, we have y is equal to 1/3 x plus 2. That's this line right here. Then we have y is equal to 1/3 x minus 2. That's this line right here. The directions say to tell how many solutions each system has. So this system right here, number 13, how many points do these have in common? 0. There's no solution there. They're parallel. In number 14, we have x minus y is equal to 4. That's this line. Y is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 4. That's this line. They will intersect somewhere around in here. That will be one solution. And number 15, these two lines are both the same line, which means we have infinitely many solutions. In number 16, we're going to cancel out the y's, so we have to multiply by 4. 16 is D. Number 17, how many solutions does this system have? Well, the top equation, you get y is equal to negative 1/3 x plus 2/3. Compare the negative 1/3 here and the negative 1/3 here, and we see they have the same slope. Look at the y-intercepts. They are different. That means that these two lines are parallel, which means there's no solution A. Number 18, use substitution to solve this system of equations. Well, we're going to put the 2 in for the x and get 6 plus y is equal to 5. Y is equal to negative 1. When y is equal to negative 1, x turns out to be equal to 2, so that would be b to negative 1. In number 19, what's the value of y if the system is solved by elimination? Well, let's solve this by elimination. Multiply the top row by 3 and the bottom row by negative 8. And we get y is equal to negative 3. That's C. Lastly, John is older than Bob. So let J equal John's age and B is equal to Bob's age. The difference of their ages is 8, and the sum of their ages is 60. So if I add the two equations together, you get 60. Their difference is 8, so J minus B is equal to 8. That means John is 34. But the answer is not A. Why? Because we're looking for Bob's age. And what is Bob's age? Bob is 26. That would be C. So making sure that John is older than Bob does work out. The answer is C here, so we've answered this one. Good luck on your test, and we'll see you next time.